So there they were. Ring. Ring. Click. And the voice of an accomplished hypnotist answered the phone. Who was an Erickson, but not Milton. His wife, Betty, who did a lot of work with Milton in helping him access his own trances for pain control and so forth. And Betty heard Bandler and Grinder's request. She was a gatekeeper. She had not been made aware of Bateson's idea for Bandler and Grinder to come down there. She listened to whichever one was on the phone, proposing that they come to meet Erickson, as arranged by Gregory Bateson. And she told him in no uncertain terms that this was not appropriate. That Milton had been away on a lecture. He's now back, he's resting. And they must go through the official channels to get the appointment and to come back when they've made the proper appointment, which could be 2 or 3 months from that date. Click. Now, do you think Grinder and Bandler were the type of people just to give up like that and to go back to California, having not met Erickson? You've met Grinder. Do you think you're just going to say, okay? Okay. They were flexible. They had tenacity. They were used to finding ways. So they concluded what they're going to do is go back to the drawing board, look at some of Erickson's work, practice it, and phone him later with the intention of hypnotizing him. Or at least using hypnotic patterns on the main man. Now, Erickson had a family. You're going back to the 1970s, California. Erickson built his family on what he considered to be the traditional values of the time. And when is Betty, he had 9 kids, when is Betty going to be least likely to answer the phone? Dinner time, in this case. Dinner time. So, they studied the papers of Erickson. And at dinner time, thought they'll have another go. And again, they got on the phone. Ring. Ring. Click. And a low, gravelly voice said, "Hello." Grinder or Bandler, whichever one was on the phone, took a short breath, breathed in and said out, "Doctor, I know you are curious about us. And doctor, it is in fact a good thing, because it's your curiosity and our interest that makes this an interesting mix for us to meet, which means we can begin to unpack some of the patterns of excellence that you have and do in your work, so others can learn. And you can begin to notice yourself change as we experience your work together. All of the people who we work with have an interest in studying themselves and trance at a deeper level. So in every experience they can begin to create new choices that they can and will tap into, which creates new decisions, new beliefs, new ways, new understandings that we take to our own personal experience, because they often say that this is in fact a better way of learning new information, isn't it? And connecting new information with what you're learning here, as you're sitting there now, listening to my voice, breathing up and down, experiencing your own internal world. Doctor, shall we visit this evening after your dinner, or first thing in the morning? Because Gregory Bateson was saying that his own father had told him during his studies that it is your ability to recognize altered states in yourself and the dynamic between your conscious and unconscious minds. Because as you listen to me, knowing that this phone is in fact responding to messages and responding to how we are speaking. Doctor, shall we make this appointment right now, as you are there listening to what I say? In fact, you are hearing me, They are hypnotizing people outside of here and speaking to you as a master of embedded communication. Notice now what you say. And the phone went quiet. And Erickson said, "You better get over here now." Click. And over they went. And Erickson had 2 houses. The house for living and the house for trancing. And the trancing house was connected to the living house by a walkway. And when you entered, the trancing house, there was always a group of people in there. In different levels of trance. How we doing? Now, I don't know if anybody here has been exposed to the Milton Model 3 times. But in brief, the Milton Model has been called the inverse of the meta model. It is where a coach deliberately uses language ambiguously. Changes the voice tone, the pauses, to create a level of overload so the client's conscious mind processes the structure, and getting overloaded, the tension begins to go inside.